and start saying the neighborhood awards. Just for the sponsors can understand it was about recognizing the people in the neighborhood, and because they thought we was walking around wearing hoodies or something. That's just how stereotypes go. So even in our school system, let's talk about that. Private school versus public school, the same thing. Certain people, they don't want to say, oh, I got my child in public school. Why? I went to public school system. I'm a graduate of the public school system, and we judge that as well. Why do we do that?
I mean, I think there's a thing of more so of, you're paying for your child's education. They get a specialized education. You know, good thing for parents to promote where their child is going to school and how they're getting a better education.
Yes.
I mean, it does have its
Because we don't.
So that's the problem there.
And
That's
some of the things that I've noticed as well is those who went to private schools, sometimes they have a lot of self-esteem issues because they were always asked, why is your hair so dark? Why is your hair so, why is your hair like
true.
Generationally it's different. A lot of it is different now,
Right.
because my son graduated in 2018, and I think it's different now because they want to be like us.
Yes.
So it was the flip side for him. Like everybody wants to be like the black kid, you know.
Yeah.
The culture vultures, as they call them. Yeah, so it's a flip side to that.
Yeah,
Now,
they want
especially with
street cred
oh,
and all that
of
good
course,
stuff.
of course, of
But
course.
it's also
It's
about
just-
parenting too. I
It
mean, you
is.
have to be a part of that school. You have to go into the schools, make sure they know what they need to be doing. Because if we're going to send our children there, we need to be a part of the system too.
Yes, and with that being said, just switching gears a little bit as well about our community developing it. What about the business? Is it overflowing like in certain areas? And you notice that's how they do. Where the private schools and the better high end schools are, that's where all the stores, retails is built around. And certain zip codes, you can get this kind of store. Oh no, we can't go over in that end of the of the county or whatever, or so we get that a lot too in different communities. You cannot have it. All we, like the lower end communities, all you have is the liquor stores. I mean, it's liquor store, liquor store, liquor store.
Beauty
You
supplies.
can, before you
Right.
go.
That's
Nail
true, too.
salons.
Yeah, but no, but things that are negative for us. You can go in that certain neighborhoods and you can pass 10 liquor stores
Right.
before you get to
Well, including
maybe a bookstore. Okay.
or that there are food deserts.
Yes.
There are
yes.
no grocery stores in some
Yes,
neighborhoods.
yes, exactly, and it's just like because for me, I'm telling you, I had a bad problem with liquor stores being essential during this whole pandemic. I mean, come on now,
Right.
maybe I'm the only one, but I was offended. Okay, I was offended. I get what you're trying to say right now. You had to focus on the pandemic. You couldn't close the liquor stores because people who have they need to be able to get that because they couldn't get overflow with the hospital with people getting sick from not being able to have it. But I'm like, I just had a problem with that. I'm serious. I did. So I'm tired of seeing liquor stores in the neighborhood.
And I think we're all tired of seeing liquor stores. I mean, I think we're tired of seeing liquor stores. We're tired of seeing Royal Farms.
Oh.
We're tired of seeing so many
My
things in
God,
our
can you
communities
say
now.
that again?
Royal Farms,
I'm
we
telling
tired
you,
of
know
that's
you love
that's
that
the
gas
new
station
liquor
I'm
store.
tired. I cannot.
You
I mean,
know that is the new
to be
liquor
honest
store.
with
It
you,
really is.
I actually
it
went
is.
to Royal Farms maybe like several weeks ago. I actually had to take the chicken back. I was telling a friend that. He's like, why did you take the chicken back? I was like, because I couldn't eat it. It was so salty,
Yes, indeed.
and I was like, y'all are serving this salty chicken to people in my community all the time.
Yeah.
And wondering why we don't have high blood pressure. But, why we do have high blood pressure in our communities when you have Royal Farms on each and every corner now just sprouting up.
And
Yes.
there's
You
on
know,
every other corner.
Yeah, I mean, but it also goes
Yes.
back to our community,
Yes.
whether it be our neighborhood community or our network, like, what are we going to do about it? Are we going to go to these county council hearings and all, and when they have zoning and planning meetings, are we going to advocate? Are we going to get involved in our HOA and kind of get our HOA
Yes.
involved and pushing
that's what we
against
have
it?
to
Because
do.
the reason they're there is because, one, because of racism, and then two, is because we allow it.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know,
Yes.
if you look at white communities, sometimes they don't allow some things.
Right.
Yes.
Well, where I
And-
live,
and
I have to say that my children live in Baltimore, and being in Prince George's County more now,
yes.
liquor stores stay open later.
Yes,
In
it
Montgomery
does.
County, they close at 8:00.
Yes.
You
They're
yes.
open on Sundays in Anne Arundel County.
Yes,
See?
and when we come back, we're going to finish this talk because I tell you, we got some good stuff here on Community Speak because when Community Speak, it speaks. Here we are on B.A.A.D.A.S.S Us. B.A.A.D.A.S.S Us, Real Talk on Vision and Purpose Media Production. We be right back. We see you on the other side.
There's one thing in life that will never change. Power. The power to be who you are. Unapologetic. Beautiful. Strong. Even when they don't know you, and they know you. Who are you? Kashella Karor.
Yes, welcome back. Here we are, Badass Us, Badass Us Real Talk. We are here. We are live on Media Productions here, Vision and Purpose Media Productions, and we was just getting right into it. It was starting to be a good conversation going on before we had to take that commercial break. And just to come back to what you were saying, Rashim, I just want to talk about that, like you saying that we need to go to our different homeowners associations and all that. See, that's what matters, and now, just even in our leadership, moving on to the next, in our leadership, the community leaders advocating for these things, the homeowner associations, they presidents, they have meetings, monthly meetings, making sure that we are out there and getting involved, because this is what counts. This is what makes your neighborhood going to be, getting the things that they need, because we need these people out here advocating for that.
But we also need more people to be involved. I mean, when you look at some of our neighborhoods and go to our neighborhood leaders, neighborhood association meetings, some communities, the HOA meetings, there's a big generational gap. I mean, I remember when I used to do outreach, I would go to the meetings, and the people that are running the meetings are like 80, some cases 90.
Oh, wow.
And
they don't want to relinquish that power at all.
They don't, but also when you look at the people who they're leading are like my grandmothers and grandfathers or older aunts and uncles. And then it's like they point like, well, we need the young people. We need the young people, because it could be where, I'm afraid if something happened, I know we went through a pandemic, but if some of our elders are wiped out, there's a big void,
Right.
a leadership void in our local communities that, one, maybe more of a responsibility for some of our elders to say, hey, come, I want to teach you, I want to groom you to take my place, but also the initiative from folks who are younger to say, hey, I care about my community and I want to be involved as well.
Yes. And we and John, one of our team members here, and that's what his nonprofit organization is all about, is just, just making sure that, that the youth and the elders come together, because it's still things that we can learn from each other, because the youth can bring that fresh and exciting ideas, and then the elders can show them, how to humble themselves to get the message across and get it done, So we do need that balance there, and I think it's definitely still something that we are in work in progress at. It's something that's needed. What you think, Belinda?
I agree totally, because it's one of those things where the young people think they know so much they can't learn anything from the old folks, as they call old folks. And the elderly a lot of times don't feel like they could learn anything from the younger people. You haven't lived long enough, but you'd be surprised what everyone has to bring to the table.
And a good point that you said that, because during the election time, let's talk about that, because we have community versus our local officials, community leaders. We do that even when it comes to voting. Oh, I like such and such, but they ain't paid their dues yet.
Exactly.
Oh, I like this person, but I don't think it's their time yet. When is the time? Sometimes that part does, we have to change that, because everybody need that chance and that start, and if we don't, if we keep saying we waiting, then they get in these seats when they 60 and 70 years old, and they don't want to let them go, because we were so busy saying when they was young and in the youth and had the energy, we was too busy saying it wasn't a time yet. And where's the balance at? Because you do have to pay your dues and respect. I get that, but also it's so many young leaders out here that are ready. They are ready, but we just don't vote for them because we keep saying it's not their time yet.
And how can you get the experience if no one else give you a chance? It's just like going out there for a job,
Exactly.
You don't have enough experience. Well, give me a chance.
Right.
Give me the opportunity.
Experience.
Exactly.
If you don't give me the opportunity.
You just have to get involved in your communities. I'm a former resident association president. So I know that because of the things that I did in my community and the surrounding communities, I became known in the county. And so I was appointed by the county council president as a commissioner for the Housing Opportunities Commission. So that also gave me some more avenues to do some more things. So you just have to start to get involved in your communities. That's how you get your name out there, and that's how you also help people.
Oh yeah.
And it's good. It's a good way to learn how to navigate the system as well, because I think the homeowners associations, the HOA, is like where the rubber meets the road, and and for those voters and folks who are residents of whatever county or municipality you live in, you have access to all of the elected officials because they're going to come to the neighborhood association,
Yes,
they're going to come to the HOA,
Yes.
to tell them what's going on, what's the happening.
That's very
You
true.
have firsthand information and you can actually ask questions. It's like great exposure for those who want to get involved, want to learn how to help their
Exactly.
Yes.
community,
Exactly.
because and then the power that the association has to summon these elected officials,
Right.
I'm going to send them a
Exactly.
letter. You need to come and talk to my people.
Exactly.
Yes, yes.
And
Today
that
I have
works.
50 people ready.
And
it
look,
When you
works
say
because
that, they
know
run.
want
And,
votes.
and,
They
and
want
not
votes.
only that, I can say, if you want your issue solved, you need to do it now because it's local election time. So they better not tell you no that they're not
Right.
coming out, because you're seeing more right now because they want to come out, they want to come to your meeting and have that platform,
Yes, they do.
because they want you to have that impression for when you go to that voting booth and you'll remember, oh yeah, they did come to my meeting. Oh yeah, they did come out
Right.
to our event. Yeah, they did support this, so this is definitely the time now to
Yeah.
make sure that
Yeah.
your voice is being heard and you get out, officials involved.
And one of the things that you mentioned earlier too was churches.
Yes.
You can use your churches to get the word out too. Use it to, get your church to be more politically involved.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an obligation for the church to be more politically involved.
Exactly.
I mean, we've let like policy, decide, there needs to be a separation between church and state. But, for many years, even like during the time of Reconstruction, our black elected officials came from the church.
Right.
Right.
They were like
That's
the
true.
pastors. It was the only place that all black folks gathered, and they could actually coalesce around an issue, a candidate. And it's often the pastor who was seen as the leader.
Right.
I think it's a little different view now, but it should be a responsibility for the church
I
to
agree with
actually
that.
organize and galvanize the community. It's really the only place that we collectively go as one
Yes.
and are unified and have a same vision,
Right.
together.
And when you think about it, if churches are feeding people, if churches are clothing people, that is a political issue.
Yep.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
But also, churches, they kind of stay, on a neutral zone when it comes to having influence on what we should do about voting, and they'll say that right away because the nonprofit of the organization have to take that stance where they cannot have influence on what we do when it comes to picking our next official.
Yeah,
What about
but
you just getting people out there, to vote, no matter who
Yeah.
you vote for?
and that's
Yeah.
the
Just getting people,
responsibility.
exactly,
Yeah.
to get people out there
That
to
part.
vote.
Yes.
And if they're
Yes.
worried about their C3 status, I mean, if you're worried about your status, you can just say, hey, vote. You don't say you have to say for.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You say
Just vote.
Exactly.
Get out there and vote.
Yeah.
Get
Exactly.
registered.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think they should hold more registrations, to get people out there to vote because, we definitely need it. We need it to be a safe haven too for those who are not voting because we still have so many people that don't vote during
Very
the
true.
local elections time.
Oh, so many.
Yeah, it's so many people just say, "Oh, I just do it only on the presidential." Or
But
that's
start-
the main. Oh, we say the main one.
Right.
Exactly.
Everyone is the main one.
Exactly.
So,
That's where the education come in at, because a lot of people
exactly.
don't know the importance of
Yes.
voting during their local
Yes,
election time.
yes.
And I think the churches can take, responsibility for that as well.
Yeah,
Just
to
help
happen.
educating people
Yes, it happened because
on the importance.
Yeah, because that's up here. Just knowing your district. Because you'd be surprised if I ask someone, what district they live in. But you know what? We got to stop making them feel embarrassed about when they
Oh.
don't know. And
Right.
just,
Don't know what you don't
and I
know.
think sometimes that's what happened. We hit them over the head with the good book so much about, oh, you don't vote. Do you know our ancestors did this and this and this and this for you
Yeah.
to vote? And like that's going to really make me feel comfortable now to open up to you. No, we have to, just give them a safe haven place and say, you know what? It's never too late.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, I have people text me your address.
And
I'll just text you back where
what
your
district
you live
exactly,
in.
exactly.
You know, and Rasheem, I know you are good. Let's break it down. In Prince George's County, we have what, 9 districts?
We have about 9 council districts. Yeah.
Yes, 9 council districts. Yes.
And so, I think, knowing your district is important. One of the things I did in the past and still do sometimes is like teach the citizen advocacy trainings or citizen lobbying trainings. Because, I think the important thing is to know what district you live in. It can be just as simple as the street.
Yeah.
The street has a pothole. I need to know if this is a state road or a county road or a federal road, because that determines who I contact to actually fix the pothole. It's just as simple as that.
Yeah.
And, it's important that folks know that. And the majority really don't, know what legislator to call, which congressional, because there's so many issues that folks deal with. Is it a county issue? Is it a state issue? Is it a federal issue?
Right.
And knowing those, how to navigate the system is so important. I mean, it could be to whether there's an issue or whether my neighborhood gets funding for a project.
Well, you see how you did that, right? So if we change the approach, you can't have the approach your ancestors died. People don't understand that. That's too far removed.
Right.
Yes,
You know, you have to, okay,
They
that
died for the
pothole,
right.
You know,
to vote.
exactly.
Yeah.
That pothole that just caused you to have to
Exactly.
get a whole front end on your field code,
Right.
things like that people
They
can
can
see in the
relate.
now. Yeah,
Yeah,
relatable.
they can relate to
You
that.
said ancestors.
Yeah.
You're like, well, I didn't know them back 100
Yeah,
years
yeah,
ago. I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
People don't.
And
We don't
Martin
operate in
Luther
that
King
space.
did what?
Exactly.
And I think it's important that we know, like, if we don't want the liquor store to come in our community, we need to know what district we live in, who to call, how can we stop that?
Right.
We want a new shopping mall. Who do we call? How can we make that happen?
Right.
And there's so much power in that. But, it's so much power at the local level, at the neighborhood,
That's
and
what
the
power
HOA.
is.
And I was going to
Yes.
say,
Yes,
even
yes.
if the change doesn't come right away, it
Yes.
empowers you
Yes.
so that you will continue to go out and try to make changes.
And you know what? And what you learn, you will go out and share and spread.
Exactly.
And that's the part that
Right.
that has the biggest power.
Yes.
Because knowledge is what power.
Power,
And once you get it, you got it. No one can take that away from you. And guess what you do? You go out and
Use it.
share. You go out and
Right.
use it.
That's
Yes,
right.
and you share. So we definitely have to just stay educated and just know the strength
Right.
of our community, because that is the strength of our community. Just knowing that your voice, it only can be heard through your vote sometimes.
That's
You got to
true.
make your vote be your voice,
And the power of this platform that we have right here.
Go ahead, Marjorie. Say that again.
The power of this platform that we have right here
Yes.
is very important, because even though it seems as if we're touching on the same subjects every week, those are our subjects.
Yeah.
So we have to touch on them every week.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
And,
These are the
this is
subject
about
matters.
education.
Yes.
And you keep just driving it in. You know how when you were in school, they make you write the dog jumped
Right.
up high over and over
Exactly.
again. You got to
Yes,
jump.
yes,
You got to
yeah.
get it ingrained in your
Ingrained,
system.
yeah.
And sometimes
Yes.
that repetitiveness, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense now, but when that time come around, people are like, oh yeah, I should vote because I remember them talking about this.
Yes,
You know,
exactly.
It
Because
seems
everybody,
that light bulb moment.
And I give it say everybody got their own aha moment, and and even though it's the same thing you hear all the time, but sometimes you're going to hear it different from somebody
Right.
else that just may say just like
Exactly.
how
It's
Rashid
propaganda.
just broke down that pothole
That's how it
because
works, you know?
I have a low car,
Exactly.
and that is so true. And every time I'm almost coming to almost a complete stop to go over a pothole because I know low as my car
Yes.
sit, it's gonna tear it up. So and that's true. So sometimes if your approach is just unique and different from what they have been hearing, even though we all saying the same thing,
Right.
it gives that person that aha moment. So thank you for that aha
Yeah.
moment, because even here now in Prince George's County, Rashid, we are going through it's a big raw because they changing districts,
Right, right.
rezoning
Oh,
here.
okay.
Yeah, so you want to
Yeah.
speak on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important for us to follow that debate, because there's going to be changing in the lines, changing on who's going to be representing you or who you'll be voting for to get the resources you need, and I think those are like really important. redistricting has been used so many ways, to help divide communities, divide black communities. There are certain laws that are in place now that certain districts have to have a certain amount of people of color, just because of the federal mandate. But also, you also have, lines drawn to keep certain people in the district because that's a good vote supply. So they'll break up black communities, especially Democrats, mainly because they know black communities are going to vote Democrat, and I need to have those black communities to keep my power.
Yes,
Even though sometimes the representative don't look like you, or maybe like 30, 40, 50 years your senior, they're going to do whatever they can to keep a certain group of people within the district to actually keep a hold of power.
Right.
It can be used to create Latino districts, to create black districts, to create more districts with more older voters. With so many formulas that can be used there.
Right.
Yeah.
I was going to say that's okay, but then that means that we need to learn that we also have the power to run. We also have the power
and win
to be in charge. Exactly.
Like say that. And win.
Right.
And win.
Exactly.
And win.
And then when you win, if more working people and more people like yourself, you've ran HOA associations, neighborhood associations, we get more folks like that who run for office and they win, it changes the conversation.
Yes.
And then it changes the perspective that's brought, on the county council or the state legislative or congressional or local, whatever hearing you are part of. It definitely changes the conversation.
Oh, definitely. Give us a seat at the table, as they like to say. Yes.
That's true.
And that's all we want. We just want our voice to be heard, and that's the way to do it. I think sometimes, like you said, with the redistricting, it's a distraction. And for me, I don't mind it. It has to be done, and it can be done. But it's politics with that too, because we can. Why are you going to do it during the when it's election time? Do it off season if you're going to do it. Do it off season, but it's something to that. You're doing it now, because that stops certain people who was going to run over in this district. Now they probably going to have to not be able to run because they need to live over here now in this district.
Wow.
So we gotta
politics as usual.
Yeah, politics as usual.
There's some political. That's all some
it's
political backdooring behind every redistricting process.
Yes.
But I mean, it's a process, and I think it's a process that I think more people need to get involved in.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Because it's we definitely need to be more involved in just the whole process, and just knowing that way when we go in there and it's time for us to vote, we have educated ourselves, and we can make an educated guess and not just checking off because the last name is a common name.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, actually, the Prince George's County Council is actually doing a redistricting hearing as we speak.
Yes.
And there's like 151 people who've signed up already for the hearing. It's virtual.
Wow.
So you can just go to the county council website right now and log on and hear what the discussion is. You may be able to hear some of the council members' responses to some of the discussions. There's a lot of people who are unhappy about their communities being broken up.
Yeah.
But it's the process is redistricting is nothing new.
Right.
Yeah, it's been here, it's been around, it's going to stay. I just think for me, like I said, it's just politics. So you're doing it now, right at the time when it's voting time. So right. So it can be beneficial to some of the officials, but then again, it can be it can make the community be at a raw. So that's because impressions are everything. So what impression do you want the person to have when they going in to vote?
Right. I have a question.
Yes.
So what's the makeup of the county council in Prince George's County as far as blacks, whites?
Well, it's been a big shift. Now it's majority black.
Yeah.
But for a while, early 2000s, late 90s, it was majority white.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
So, it's been a big shift.
Yes.
But it's like, okay, what personalities do we elect there?
Yeah.
Right.
Just because all the old saying, all skin folk ain't your kinfolk.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true.
I know that's right.
Some
That
folks
is
are just for me folk.
Yeah.
And I think we just got to be aware of that, and I think, as the more we stay on top of folks,
yes,
you know,
the better we are.
yeah.
And you know what? We're going to continue this conversation. You heard it here first on B.A.A.D.S.S Us. Yeah, that's right. That's who we are. B.A.A.D.S.S Us, Real Talk on Vision and Purpose Media Production. We see you on the other side.
It is key that you mind your mental health.
Hey guys, how's everyone doing this week?
Hi.
Use the 5 keys to mental
Well, this week
movement.
has been a really monumental week for me. I realized that I was not being myself.
Reaching out.
Be positive attitude person self, like you guys know me to be. I was
Staying
listening to the
upbeat.
teaching and get back to that happy, cheery self you guys of me.
This week's been kind of
Being
stressful
creative.
because of all of the workload that we have on online learning. So I've been trying to use different platforms and different websites to help ease my mind and ease my stress.
And what about you, Marjorie?
Well, you guys know me. I just love to work with others and serve them.
Serving others.
Realize that when I serve others, my mind is off of myself.
That's right. And don't forget, self-care is key.
Self-care.
All right. So see you guys next week.
Right.
Bye.
Your mind matters.
Yes, and welcome back to B.A.A.D.S.S Us. Yeah, that's right. That's who we are. B.A.A.D.S.S Us, Real Talk, here on Vision and Purpose Media Productions. And guys, we are just having a great conversation. The topic has been community speak, and I think we have been speaking well. I don't know about you, but I am feeling good about where we are right now and the voices that we're bringing to our community. We are just having such a wonderful conversation and just great topics and issues and concerns that just really is going on in our community as we speak. And, you know, this is the segment, the part of the segment where we turn it over to Marjorie Militant. She bring us the inspirational moment for today. So, Marjorie, what is the inspiration within this week?
It's give me my flame back. And again, it goes with the topic.
No, that's right.
So, you know, we all suffer from burnout. Burnout is a lack of motivation that comes from frustration and being tired and not from inspiration. But God always gives us inspiration. He always gives us motivation. So let me see what the scripture is. Psalm 119 and 25. It says, revive me according to your word. And God will provide, and he will revive us as well. And while he's reviving us, we just have to get involved. I mean, you know, all of this goes together. Just getting involved in your community, being a power, being a light, getting your flame back. It's all about that.
I like that. I like that. I see you over there. You know, you got a moment going on. What's your thoughts?
I really know. It's just funny how her inspirational moment always tie into the conversations.
Right.
Yes.
And I know that you all do not speak prior to.
Yes.
That is a known theme here.
Yes,
That, yeah, it always aligns. And I like that. You know, you get your power back. It's just basically putting energy behind anything. You
Right.
know?
Exactly.
Because energy is power, right? You just
Yeah.
put the energy behind it. And as long as you put the energy behind it, you know, things open up for you.
Exactly.
Things change.
Yeah,
yes,
I agree
yes,
with that.
yes. I'll tell you, and God can change some things.
Yes, he
okay?
can.
The power of prayer can change some things. Yes,
And I guess the most important thing is that we just never give up. You know, we are people that we do not give up. We do get tired. We do get burned out. But we've always got to remember that there's a purpose to the things that we do and continue to do those things.
Pressing on, yes.
I definitely
Perseverance.
Yes, I give. You just took you in my head. I was just gonna say, I truly think that we are a community of perseverance, because you know that's one thing. When we up against the wall and it get challenging to us, and we know how to be resilient.
Oh, yes.
In the moments and
come out stronger than before.
Yes,
It's in our
yes, we
DNA.
do.
Oh, yes.
Yes,
Yes,
it's
that's
in
true.
our
It's in our
DNA.
DNA. That's
true.
you
A
know?
divine
That's
DNA,
true.
yes.
Yes, yes, and I'm telling you, and Michelle, if you're out there listening, and we was just talking about standing in the gap, and that's what we'll do. We'll
Right.
stand in the gap until that person, you know, like you said, get that flame back and can come and join me, you know. And I remember just even when my sister passed, I put that message in there, I am my sister keeper. And part of that, and my sister passed, and my cousin, who's like a daughter, I just remember saying that I must stand in the gap. I must stand in the gap until they're able to stand with me. And sometimes even standing with me mean even when they gone and passed on, they are still standing with me, you know, if you can get that, you know. So getting my flame back, I like that. This is powerful.
And it reminds me that we also talked a little bit, you know, this is Belinda's specialty, caregiving. It's our responsibility to care for one another.
Yes,
it's our responsibility to make sure that each other's children are okay, each other's families are okay, each other's communities are okay.
I guess and the communities are okay, you know. And guys, it's Thanksgiving time. This is the time of giving and being thankful. But you know what? We have to do it not only in the season, you know, and just be cautious of doing it more often. And I will say, and I have to say this, in the Black community, we have been doing that since this pandemic. We've been stepping up.
Yeah, we have.
We've been stepping up, you know. People are, you know, just checking in on one another. Just, you know, my neighbors, I'm cautious of the LD. I go knock on their door, saying I'm going to the grocery store. You know, do you need something? Sometimes don't even ask. Just bring extra whatever back, and just knock on the door. Say here.
Right.
You know,
I mean,
and you've been seeing that a lot.
I mean, even when you talk about caregivers, you know, caregivers, they do a lot of work, and they provide so much care and comfort to some of our loved ones who are sick and shut in, and a lot of times we have to fight for them, because in the grand scheme of things, a lot of those caregivers aren't getting the pay that they need, you know. The rest time that they need, you know, there's a whole bunch of the resources that they need, you know, and I think that's important. Even though our caregivers take care of our most vulnerable population, we actually still have to take care of them as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. And we're doing it every day, because caregiving is not just those that are sick. We're caregiving every day. I'm giving you care. You know, if I take a phone call from you and you're having a bad day and we discuss some things, that's a way of providing care. And I challenge everybody to broaden their caregiving circle, because it's so easy to care for those people that you see every day, your family members. But how easy is it to care for people that you don't know, that you don't see every day? You know, the person that you meet on the street, they have a conversation with you. You know, just pull up next to somebody, the young brother on the street, like, what you doing out here? You know, that's a form of care, because you're caring about his well-being, being out here on this corner. You know, so it's so much broader than we can even.
And I must say, and I appreciate you saying this, because you know what, I did this to the young guys, you know, and I was like, come on now, it's first thing in the morning, y'all out here smoking pot, and now when they see me, hi, Miss Auntie. Hi, Auntie.
Exactly.
You know, I'm Miss Auntie.
You see how you garner that respect?
You know what? And I appreciate that.
Of course.
I'm Auntie.
That's
you know,
right.
and I had to learn that.
And they're gonna look out for Auntie. Let somebody be walking up on Auntie.
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, for example, I was in Forestville. I went to Forestville Mall the other day, and you know, my mother always says, "Why you going there?" You know, but I went to Forestville Mall, and you know, they have like nice urban shops where you can get like urban designer clothes, things like that. They still got the cookie shop. You can get your snickerdoodles and all that. But you know, it was I went in there and I bought a shirt. It was a Ralph Lauren shirt, and I came back out and there was a group of brothers out in the corner, and they were like, "Yo, we selling these shirts, da 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 da." You know, and I listened. At first, I was like, "Oh, boy, I'm about to go to," but then I was like, I just gave Ralph Lauren some money.
Exactly.
Why in the world can't I give these young brothers some money?
Yeah.
You know, what I'm giving them is cheaper than what I paid for the Ralph Lauren. But after I bought it, he gave me a hug. And he was like, "You the first person that bought my shirt today." And this was like about 1 o'clock. So he was hustling. I was like, "Man, just keep at it. Don't take no for an answer." And I was like, and keep designing, because, you know, I may come back and buy some more.
And that one purchase probably just made him feel like I can go on.
That's very true. And I'm telling you,
that one thing.
That is true. And
I
like
that.
the fact that you you let him know that you're going to hear 1,000 no's probably before you get to that one yes. But and that's just the power of who we are, and we can get
stay in the course.
Yes,
we
stay
talked
in
about
the
that.
course. Yes, and it does, and they give you encouragement and know that you can go on. So so.
But just those little things like that, just purchasing that shirt for $25 from these young brothers made their day.
Of course, it's like you bought $25 million.
Exactly.
Because I'm buying. Matter of fact, my engineer, my ambassador, my everything. She has a t-shirt line, and you know what? And that's what I do.
Really?
Instead of going to the store, yes, I can go online and get, from certain places that deliver the next day to your door. It may be, less, but you know what? I need to support my sister. I need to support her and let her know she have a good thing.
And I want mine delivered next day to the door.
Yes. And you know what? And if enough of us support that, she can get you delivery to your door.
That's right.
The next day. And we have to, we have to be able to feed into the young people. You know what? And that young man probably be. And next time we see him, going to be like, you know what, got so much confidence. They'll be the one that next time you see him, he won't have to be outside of the mall. He will be in the mall and a storefront store, know. Yeah. So, you just never know it. Because I'm going to tell you, this is a true story, getting the flame bat. It was snowing outside. And all y'all who know me, I have no sense of direction.
No comment.
And don't even know how to drive. I'm a new driver. And I didn't know that you're supposed to turn the car on when you're cleaning the snow off your car. Okay, go ahead, have your laugh.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. No. So I'm cleaning the snow, and it's just fastly coming back. Wonder why it ain't going nowhere, because the car ain't hot and helping me melt it, So this homeless guy came, and he started helping me clean the snow off the car. He said, "Ma'am, you need to get in and start the engine." I said, "Oh, okay." And so he got gloves and started taking his glove, because I didn't even have nothing in the car, and just start. And I was like, wow, I'm getting ready to go home to my warm house. But he got wet gloves out here in the cold now because he helped me out. So I said, "Can I give you?" And he said, "No." I said, "No, here, take $20, go to a shop, whatever, stay, And I said, and I work right here. And at the time I was working at a beauty salon inside of Woody's, Woodworth and Loafer. I said, "You come back and you just come see me. I work."
So you know what time period that was?
Yeah.
She talked about Woody's.
The early 60s.
Woody's, that was a long time ago. And that week later, he came back, a week and a half, almost 2 weeks later. He said, "I'm looking for the young lady to drive the black rodeo," because I had the black rodeo at the time. And I was like, "That voice sound familiar." He said, "Thank you," and he gave me a hug. I didn't recognize the guys because he went and got a haircut, cleaned himself up. He said he went and got him a job. He said, cool. I love doing roses, and I went to a rose shop, and he got a job.
That's very
and
nice.
And he came back a month later, and then he was the manager
of
the
That's
rose
a good story.
place.
Yeah, that is a
Isn't
good
that
story.
something?
Yeah.
So see, he got his flame back, Marjorie.
Yes, he did. Yes,
But he just don't know. He was my angel that night, because I'm going home to a warm house, and he was still outside with wet gloves on in the cold. So you never know where your angels are coming from.
Exactly.
So guys, I cannot believe we about to wrap up. We at the end. So next week, guess what? We will be talking about family matters and caregivers, because this is National Caregivers Month. Yes. And this is a good thing, guys. And as the community speak, it just all goes together.
Yes,
so
it does.
We will see you next week, the same time, same bad channel here at Vision and Purpose Media Productions, 7 p.m. B.A.A.D.A.S.S Us. We'll be right here. Yes, that's right. That's who we are. B.A.A.D.A.S.S Us, Real Talk, here on Vision and Purpose Media Production. And we will see you next week. Until then, stay blessed and have a good week.